can have 100,000 followers and still make zero money. You can post every day, go viral, get likes, comments, shares, and still check your bank account and see nothing change. Because attention and income are not the same thing. And most people building a personal brand don't realize that until it's too late. Let's make this uncomfortable for a second. There are creators with small audiences making more money than influencers with millions of followers. Quiet accounts, no viral posts, no trends, but real income, consistent, predictable, growing. Meanwhile, someone else is chasing views, celebrating numbers, and wondering why nothing converts. Same platform, same effort, completely different outcomes. So what's actually going on? Why do some personal brands turn into businesses while others turn into noise? The answer isn't content, it's structure. Because a personal brand that makes money isn't built on posting, it's built on positioning, leverage, and conversion. And if even one of those is missing, everything else becomes decoration. Let's break this down, slowly. Most people start here. I need to grow. More followers, more views, more reach. It feels logical because growth looks like progress. But growth without direction is just expansion without income. Here's the part nobody tells you. A follower is not a customer. A view is not demand. And attention is not value. Attention is potential. And potential doesn't pay bills. Imagine opening a shop. People walk in all day, they look around, they smile, they leave. No one buys anything. Would you call that a successful business? Of course not. But online, that's exactly what most personal brands are doing. They're attracting attention without building a system to convert it. So let's shift the question. Not, how do you grow? But how does this make money? Because the moment you ask that, everything changes. Now, instead of random content, you start thinking in paths. Where does the viewer come from? What do they see first? What do they understand about you? What problem do they associate with you? And most importantly, what happens after they trust you? This is where most personal brands collapse, not at the content level, at the transition. They know how to attract, but they don't know how to guide. So people watch, but they don't move. Let's go deeper, because this is where the real system starts. A profitable personal brand has 3 layers: visibility, trust, and monetization, and they must connect. Most people only build the first one, visibility. They post, they optimize, they chase reach, and it works. They grow, but then something strange happens. Growth slows, engagement becomes inconsistent, and income still zero. Because visibility without trust is fragile, and trust without monetization is incomplete. So what creates trust? Not just content, consistency of message, clarity of expertise, and repetition of value. People don't trust you because you posted once. They trust you because over time, you become associated with a specific outcome. This is where positioning enters. If your content is about everything, you are trusted for nothing. But if your content consistently solves one category of problems, you become a reference point. Not just a creator, a source. And sources get paid. Now here's the part most people avoid because it feels limiting. Choosing a clear position. They think, if I narrow down, I lose audience. But the opposite is true. You lose noise and gain relevance. Relevance is what converts. Let's say someone watches your content. What do they remember? Not your editing, not your music, not even your personality. They remember what you help them with. And if that's unclear, there is nothing to buy. Now let's talk about money, because this is where things get real. There are only a few ways a personal brand makes money: products, services, attention arbitrage. Everything else is a variation. Products, something scalable, digital or physical. services, time exchanged for value, consulting, freelancing, coaching, attention arbitrage, you capture attention and redirect it, ads, sponsorships, and affiliate systems. But here's the key. Each model requires a different structure, and most people mix them without understanding the consequences. For example, they build an audience with entertainment and try to sell expertise. That disconnect kills conversion, because the audience you attract must match what you sell. If people follow you for jokes, they won't pay for strategy. If they follow you for insights, they might. So every piece of content is not just content, it's filtering. It decides who stays and who leaves. And over time, that defines your entire business. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Monetization requires friction. At some point, you have to ask. Ask for attention, ask for trust, ask for money. Most people avoid the last one. They keep giving value, hoping something will happen. But value without direction creates free consumption, not transactions. You're training your audience to watch, not to buy. And once that habit is built, it's hard to break. So what does a working system actually look like? It's simple, but not easy. Step 1. Attract the right people. Not everyone, the right ones. Step 2. Build trust through consistent value. Not random posts, clear, repeated outcomes. Step 3. Create a bridge from content to deeper engagement. This could be a newsletter, a product, a service, something that moves people from viewer to participant. And step 4, monetize that participation. Not the view, the relationship. Because views fluctuate, algorithms change, reach drops, but relationships, they compound. Now here's where the math becomes interesting. Let's say you have 10,000 followers. Sounds good, but only 1% are highly engaged. That's 100 people. Out of those, maybe 10% are willing to pay. That's 10 people. If each pays $100, you've made $1,000. Not bad, but not life-changing. Now compare that to a smaller account, 1,000 followers, but highly targeted. 10% engaged, 100 people. 10% of those buy. Same 10 people, same $100, same $1,000. Smaller audience, same income. This is why scale without precision is inefficient, and precision is what most people avoid because it requires clarity. Clarity about who you help, how you help, and why it matters. Without that, you're just producing content, and content alone doesn't build income. Now zoom out, because this isn't just about creators. This is a shift in how value is distributed. In the past, you needed institutions, companies, gatekeepers. Now, individuals can build leverage, but only if they understand the system. Because the platforms don't pay you directly, they give you attention. And attention is a raw resource. You still have to process it, convert it, turn it into something valuable. Otherwise, you're working for the platform, not for yourself. And here's the irony. The more you focus only on growth, the more dependent you become, because your income is tied to reach, and reach is not in your control. So what's the real goal? Not followers, not views. Ownership. Owning the relationship, owning the distribution, owning the outcome. This is why email lists matter, why communities matter, why direct channels matter. Because they reduce dependency and increase control. Now here's the part most people don't think about. A personal brand is not just content, it's an economic system. Inputs, attention, processes, trust and positioning, outputs, revenue. If any part is weak, the system breaks. And most people are stuck at the input stage, endlessly producing, never extracting value. Now the uncomfortable question. If this system is so clear, why do most people fail? Because building a profitable personal brand requires trade-offs. You can't please everyone. You can't chase every trend. You can't stay vague. You have to choose. And choice feels risky. But without it, there is no direction. And without direction,
there is no monetization. So the next time you see a big creator, don't just look at their numbers. Ask a different question. Where does their money actually come from? Because behind every profitable personal brand is a system you don't see. And behind every unprofitable one, there's usually something missing. Not effort, not talent, structure. And once you see that, everything changes. Because now you're not just creating, you're building. Not just content, but a machine. A machine that turns attention into income. But here's the final thought. If everyone is trying to grow and only a few are actually building systems, what happens when the gap between attention and income gets even wider? And in that world, will having an audience still be an advantage or just another illusion?